And we are going to go on the record in the matter of Riverview Owner LLC versus Julio Maldonado and all occupants that means Chance Cuff 221901. And appearance, counsel?
Good morning, Your Honor. Cheryl Wolkoff on behalf of the plaintiff.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cuff. If you can please state your name for the record and spell your first and last names, please.
Shante Cuff, Chanta, last name Cuff.
Okay, can you please turn your camera on?
I'm trying to, but it's saying that I have no access to do that. It's saying that you guys have to turn my camera on. Oh, can you do that one more time? I hit the wrong one. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, and if you can please remove your cap because you are in court. And ma'am, I'm going to have you please raise your right hand. Oops, I'll wait till you're done. Okay, please raise your right hand, ma'am. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and where is Mr. Maldonado?
He is currently sitting with our children. He has no, what is it called, technology to zoom into the court.
Okay, and Ms. Luckoff, Ms. Cuff indicated that when I was checking her in, that she didn't receive notice of this hearing. And it wasn't until she went to the
How is
clerk's
she here?
office.
Oh,
Well, it isn't until she went
I
to the
can
clerk's
explain
office.
that.
Hold on, please. There's only one that can talk at a time, please, because of we need to keep our valid, concise record. So she indicated that she had gone to the clerk's office about mold or something, and the clerk's office somehow knew about the eviction proceedings. So I'm not sure. So, Ms. Cuff, how is it that you became aware of today's hearing?
So I was going to the clerk office to see how we could fight this. And that's when they had told me, because I ended up showing her the video footage and the pictures of the mold in our complex and our cracked ceiling that's been cracked. And we complained about it and nothing has happened. And that's when she went in the system and she had even wrote down on a sheet of paper stating that we had a court hearing Wednesday, I believe it is Wednesday on the 21st at 11 o'clock. And I still have the little sticky note in my vehicle.
Your Honor, a couple things here. First and foremost, this particular individual does not have any standing to even be arguing or responding to our motion. Mr. Maldonado should be here. If he didn't have the technology, then he should have appeared in person. That's number one. Number two, I know that notice was sent from my office, and I think it's a bit suspect. There was a judgment taken on March 3rd, and it just happened this week that they decided that they would come to the court and ask about mold. Anyways, neither here nor there, there is notice. So there hasn't been rent paid in over a year. Judgment was entered on March 3rd for $11,000, and it was a consent judgment, Your Honor, $11,398.56. If this property is so horrible, I'm still scratching my head while they are still there. But in any event, I'm just asking for an order of eviction to be entered immediately at this point.
Okay, Ms. Cuff, when did you when did you provide notice?
Okay, so we have been
excuse me, just one moment. Let me finish my question. Okay. When did you provide notice to the landlord or to Ms. Luckoff regarding any alleged mold?
I didn't even know I was supposed to send anything over to Ms. Luckoff. I've never been in this situation before. I don't even know who she is. And secondly, we definitely have proof that we have contacted this complex for over a year about the mold. And I have footage of when it started growing and before, and work orders that were put in and were never handled. Thank you very much for that.
Your
situation.
Honor, this is a motion for entry of order of eviction.
Hold on. Stop. I need for both of you to please wait until the other is done before there is any, don't interrupt me before the other one speaks, because my court recorder cannot have a clear and concise record. Ms. Cuff, I do not need you to end the statement with "thank you very much." So My question is this.
Mhm.
Ms. Cuff,
Yes.
you and Mr. Maldonado entered into a consent judgment. Is that correct?
I have no knowledge of that. He went to court for that. I have no knowledge of that, but I do know he said we had to pay something of $4,000. It was not $11,000.
Okay, well, ma'am, you're listed
And
as
that was
all
because of-
occupants. Excuse me, you're listed as all occupants. Your name is not on the lease, is that correct?
You said it is or it is not?
Is your name on the lease?
Yes, it should be.
Ms. Luckoff, do you have a copy of the lease?
I can pull it up, Your Honor. I'm going to object to everything that's happening here. We have a judgment that was signed by the named defendant. She didn't sign the judgment. She has no standing to be making these arguments. I can look and see, but this is post-judgment. She's making arguments pre-judgment. There's a consent judgment that you have for $11,000. No payment has been made in 13 or 14 months. I don't even understand. There's no basis to even have the conversations we're having, mold or anything. This is not a motion to set aside a default judgment and we're looking for a meritorious defense. This is very simply a judgment was entered for $11,000. Nothing's been paid since then. And under the court rule, I had to file this motion. So respectfully, Your Honor, I'm not sure why we're going through these discussions.
Because
She didn't sign the judgment.
Because counsel, I'm trying to make a valid record to make sure that what I'm going to do is all on the record. That's why.
Okay, but how would she have standing?
Ms. Cuff's name is listed as a lessee on the lease.
Okay, but she didn't sign the judgment and she wasn't sued. So we're trying to take back possession of the property. She's not named in this action.
Well, then, if she's listed on the lease and why is she not named on the action?
She's an occupant. She's an all occupant. So I guess technically she's named theoretically as an occupant, but she didn't sign the judgment. And we're not required in an in rem proceeding to specifically name. There's no money judgment against her. The only money judgment is against Giulio Maldonado. But again, we're trying to get the property back right now. And again, I feel like respectfully, this is all something that if it was going to be argued, it would have been argued at the time judgment was entered. All we're trying to do is enforce our rights to take the property back. So there's no, oh, I've said what I'm going to say about that.
So I will note that there were maintenance issues that were alleged back in January, but nothing about mold. And in fact, it indicates that Mr. Maldonado was present on March 3rd, consent judgment to enter. There was a money judgment, at least as to Mr. Maldonado. There was a pending CIRA application that was paying a large chunk. And so the money judgment was asked to Mr. Maldonado only. And so, Ms. Luckoff, did your client ever receive any money from CIRA?
No.
I'm sorry. Stop doing that.
So, Ms. Cuff, why have you and Mr. Maldonado not relocated?
We haven't been there. We have been living with our friend Lachey. To answer her question as to why we were still there, we were not there. We actually did leave because the mold had gotten.
Ms. Cuff, my question was, why have you not relocated from the property? That was my question.
We put in a couple places, but because I was still working on my credit, I had got denied for our new place, but I just re-put in our application for our new place, which we should get approved because I did get my credit up.
Ms. Luckoff, why was an order of eviction, excuse me, Ms. Cuff.
I'm
Ms.
so
Luckoff,
sorry.
why was an order of eviction not submitted before May 30th?
It was not, I don't have an answer for that I don't think that the law requires, it just requires a motion to be filed if it's after.
No, I understand that. I didn't know if there was some ongoing discussion somewhere or something that was,
no.
that there was some other discussion as to why this wasn't entered. And so the court will note that there was a
Am I able to say one thing about the SIRA?
You may say that, that's fine, because I'm going to
Okay.
pull something up in just a moment. But,
Okay, so with
was
the
it-
SIRA, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, with the SIRA, we did everything on our end that we were supposed to. SIRA has not sent the money out because they are still waiting for the landlord and the complex to send over the tax documents and to show that we were going to court because of the rent. And they never sent either of those in. And I recently called
So,
SIRA again for an update, and they also said that.
Ma'am, what did you do? What steps did you take or Mr. Maldonado take to make sure that everything that SIRA needed was complied with? What, did you contact the complex? What did you do?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I have proof of that as well. I have screenshots of when I had called the complex and I was repeatedly calling them about it and they would not answer the phone. We could not get through to them. And I have the screenshots where it shows that I kept calling them repeatedly. I have video footage of me going up to the complex and nobody was there at the scheduled time of them supposed to be there. We have no emails for anybody up there. When we ask for email, they say they're not allowed to give it out, or they'll send us an email and that's how we get their email from them. But we have contacted them. We even had Sarah contact the complex and they could not get a hold of them as well. And the complex also said when I did get a hold of them that they were going to contact Sarah. And our last court date, they said they were sending the information over to Sarah and they still have not.
Well, Your Honor, Ms. Cuff wasn't at the last court date.
Ma'am, correct. You were not at the last court date. And ma'am, you understand you do have the right to have legal representation and you're choosing to represent yourself, correct?
Oh, and that's another, I was not aware of this. I did not get this paper in the mail and we've been at the apartment when we came back knowing that we had a court date from the clerk and we've been checking the mail because I have it on my phone. It shows me when the mail comes.
Sir.
Ma'am, there is a proof of service that was sent on June 9th indicating that today's hearing was on June 21st.
Yes, I found out from the city clerk and not from the paper.
Ma'am, I'm kind of curious how the city clerk knew that you had.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I could go up there and get the name of the lady who told me, but she went in the system. She even wrote it down for me that we had a court date today. Okay. She looked it up in the system. She's the one who told me about our court date.
Ma'am, this was sent via mail. And how did you get the Zoom ID information?
We already had a court date with you guys, so we literally had to go through our messages to find the Zoom link. I have the messages of that as well, where I asked him to go through our messages to find the Zoom link because we don't have the paper. We never received the paper in the mail. I don't know if it went to the leasing office, but we never received the paper.
Your Honor, I know that was sent because I sent it.
If it was sent, that is okay, but we did not get it in our mailbox, is what I'm saying.
It was sent via first class mail to your apartment. If you're not staying there, they don't know that. They don't have another address to send it to. So this was mailed out on June 9th.
Yes, and that's the thing, June 9th, and we have our mail. When we will go back and collect the mail. We still have the keys. We just don't sleep there because of the mold. But we never received that paper to our mailbox. I found out about the court date from the city clerk. I didn't find out from no court paper in the mail, none of that. I went to the city clerk trying to figure out how to fight this case.
Your Honor, this is a post-judgment motion.
Excuse me. There's nothing to fight at this point, ma'am. There is a consent judgment that was entered. So unless there's a motion before the court regarding that judgment, this court, pursuant to court rule, MCR 4.201 L4 is signing the order, is granting the motion and signing the order of eviction. You have been residing at this property for how long without paying any rent?
We haven't been there, ma'am. We were there in the beginning and then we left and lived with our friend Lachey, who my fiance works with, because of the mold. We have not been there.
Okay, so you've been occupying, you've had possessory interest of this property without making any payment of rent.
For 14 months. Your Honor, if I may, they're waiting for me in 28th
Our lease
District
is not
Court.
14 months, but okay. We have no problem with leaving the complex. We're fine with that because of the amount of mold in there. We have no problem with that. That's okay. It's fine. We can proceed with the eviction if that's what we're going to do. That is fine. I just would like to know if there's a way for me to go back and fight this eviction, or do I have to wait? Or I don't know how that goes.
I cannot give you legal advice. I cannot give you legal advice. However, on the judgment, the consent judgment that was received by you and Mr. Maldonado, it says that you are advising a filing motion for a new trial and motion to set aside a default judgment or an appeal bond, which must comply with all court rules and must be filed in court by March 13th, 2023. You may want legal help. So that was all in the judgment that you all received. So at this point, you can contact legal representation to see if there's anything else that you may have at your that you may be able to do. But at this point, you have to contact legal assistance if that's what you choose to do, or you can do it on your own, but this court cannot give you legal advice nor tell you how to do it.
Okay, that's fine.
Your Honor,
just
can I
would like
log
to know
off? And
how-
I'm sorry to do this, but I think you've
Hold on,
ruled that they've
I'm
been
sorry,
waiting
she
for me.
keeps cutting me off, and
Hold
that's
on.
like really rude because I have.
Ms. Coff, stop, please. Stop, Ms.
She's
Lukoff.
cutting me off.
Ms. Coff, stop, please. Ms. Lukoff, we're almost done, so if the 28th could just wait for just another moment, please. Ms. Coff, what was your question?
I was just trying to see how much time we had so we can move our stuff up.
Well,
Because we
the
haven't
court
been
has
moving
signed
there,
this
but we
judgment.
just have to.
Excuse me, the court has signed this judgment. The court has signed the judgment, and therefore, the plaintiff can have a court officer go and remove the items. However, if you would like to send communication to Ms. Lukoff to let her know when you're moving out, whether it's in the next day or two, so she knows what she's doing on that end as far as having her court officer remove the items, I don't know. So, but the eviction order has been signed, so it's when the plaintiff dispatches the court officer to remove the belongings.
Okay, we will. We just need a week. That's it.
Ma'am, you've had 3 months. You've had 3 months. I don't know that they're giving you a week, but the order has been signed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
All right.